Well, hello, it's Nancy today. I was tagged to tell what are my five favorite ideas or tools for being prepared, prepping. I don't think of myself as a prepper. I just live this way. I guess our church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, teaches us to be prepared. If ye are prepared, ye shall not fear. So if you're prepared for any eventuality with the basics, food, shelter, and clothing, and heat, then you'll be okay. And if you prepare and have enough for a year, then if you're unemployed or disaster strikes your family or loved ones, you're in a position to help people. And you don't need to rely on anybody else or do without. Now, there was a woman who, there's a joke, I don't suppose it's really a joke, but there was a time of need and there wasn't much around, and this woman was having what other people considered luxuries in this time. I can't remember if it was something like pineapple upside down cake or something. Anyway, but she had stored enough of that, a year's supply of the things that she loved. And she happened to love whatever that was. When you store, you need to make sure that what you store will keep. You can't store things that only have a very short shelf life. Otherwise, you end up wasting your money and throwing it all out. I've done that. Now that they talk about tin cans having this metal inside that is cancer causing, I have to rethink my food storage. I have a lot of canned food stored. I also have a freezer full of food, and then I had jars on hand so that I could can things if my freezer broke. However, you can't really can very fast on a wood stove. I think the things that's important to have: a year's supply of wood, 2 if possible. I think that's very important. It's important to have a wood stove, some kind of heat, so that if there is a catastrophe and the public access is cut off for some reason, I don't know, an earthquake breaks the lines, the price goes up too high, whatever. Or if you're in a bind and there's not like ice storm or big blizzard, that a really terrible winter that lasts for a long time and people are not able to get through and you run out of fuel. I think that wood is a very important thing to have on hand. Okay? A good wood stove that will heat your house, or that you'll be able to live in the part of your house that is heated, and be able to cut off the rest of the house with curtains or whatever if you're not able to heat the whole thing. If you put your wood stove in the basement, the heat rises, so it will heat the upstairs and the basement. And of course the ceiling in the basement will keep the bottom of the upstairs floor warm. Okay, that's one thing. Now, something I just learned lately, which I thought was very interesting, was this guy's hubcap's gonna fall off. Something I found interesting lately was that if you have no light inside, your power goes out after a storm or whatever, or you didn't pay the bill, whatever. If you have no light inside, you could go outside and get those little dawn to dusk lights, dusk to dawn lights, those little solar lights that you line your property with. Of course, they don't work very long. I've had some. I got them from the dump. which is my great source of all things. Everybody needs a dump. Of course, if you're in an area where people sue each other all the time, good luck with that. I suppose I had time to go through that yellow light, but better to stop. I'm out in the countryside. Okay, what else was I going to tell you? There's so many things I could tell you. Okay, another thing for being prepared. So that was two things. One is, having those little solar lights only works for a little while. But you can bring them in if you're out of power. So having a year's supply of wood is very important. I think having food on hand is very important. Have a year's supply of food. And start off with a week's supply of food. And there's all kinds of, if you've got money, there's all kinds of prepared foods. You store water and you store these things and then you just put them together. There's lots, if you check online, there's a lot of places in Utah that provide packaged dried meals or something. I think storing beans, rice, wheat, and knowing how to use them is important. So if you have a pressure canner, learn how to can and grow the food that you eat and can it. Too bad you can't can ice cream or grow it. And that's my favorite food, ice cream and chocolate chip cookies. I know. I have my next door neighbor, she is now 94. She doesn't live next door anymore. My mother's next door neighbor, who I grew up with. She is 94, and her granddaughter was saying that her favorite foods, or what she lives on, is granola bars and ice cream. She has 5 different kinds of ice creams in her freezer and granola bars, and that's what she lives on. And she's 94. The idea that these things are really bad for you and will kill you, I don't think so. I think our bodies are predisposed to certain things. Plus, our days are numbered. You cannot number them more or less according to the Lord. Okay, so those are two things. One is to have your wood, and another is to have your food. So as a tool, I would say a pressure canner and jars. And new lids. Have a good supply of new lids. Also store the seeds that you'll need to grow. These heritage seeds are coming into vogue again, which is very nice. Because then you'll be able to use the seed from what you've grown. I'm into painting boards right now. This is my, Willem says I'm large scale Nancy. He's not just talking about my size. He's talking about the things that I do. And I have now got, I don't know, maybe 30 or 40 gourds I've bought, and I've got the paints, and I've been working on painting gourds, and I'm trying to grow them. So I've planted some at my mom's. Let's hope it works. Let's hope I can actually do this. Okay, so those are some of the things. What else should I tell you about? Well, if your power goes out, and if you live in the country, when you have no electricity, you have no pump for your well. you can't flush your toilets. So I think it's important to have an outhouse. An outhouse can be very, very simple. You can just use a lawn chair and a bucket and a toilet seat. Put them together, cut a hole in your lawn chair seat, and you've got, have a lid for your bucket. And you've got a way to go to the bathroom outside. You're not going to smell up your house. You've got a lid for it. You can put dirt in between going. You can put sawdust, put lime. So the lime will make the smell go away. I think it might help to break it down. I'm not quite sure. I don't really know a lot about those things. So some kind of a self-composting toilet, whether it's a bucket and a lawn chair and a toilet seat. I mean, you just need the bucket. But if you want to live in luxury, I mean, who wants to sit on a bucket? And a chamber pot. Chamber pot that goes under your bed. You pull it out, then you don't have to go to the outhouse or out to your chair. You just must remember to cover it and dump it. Many of our grandparents grew up with chamber pots and outhouses. Okay, so those are some of the basics. You do need to store something like bleach so that you can purify your water should you need to. 10 drops of bleach to a gallon of water purifies it. Now, there is something being said on the internet. I'm not sure about its validity, but it's about you take water and you put it in a plastic bottle, and then you put it in the sun, and I think 6 hours, 5 hours in the sun, and it'll purify the water. I don't know if that's absolutely correct or not. Okay, I think hammer and nails are always useful. Shovel, rope, candles, lantern, toilet, bleach, wood supply, wood stove. Did I say more than 5? I probably did, because I really can't count. They don't teach you that in Nancy Today University. Okay, see you later. You can do this at home, or you cannot do it. Whatever you want to do, it's your life. Okay, bye. Of course, results may differ.